Hi, Milo. Welcome to the Gold Coast.
Thank
You're
you.
so hot, I would let you impregnate my girlfriend. How's that?
Sir, you have set the bar for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Hi, Milo. Welcome to the Gold Coast.
Thank
You're
you.
so hot, I would let you impregnate my girlfriend. How's that?
Sir, you have set the bar for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Succeeding following questioners, raise your game. Please, I'd be delighted to hear your question.
I just have a very brief comment which I'd like to get you to respond to. One of the things that I've learned from listening to you is that at the core of a lot of our problems globally is this obsession we have with groupthink and rigid, divisive ideologies, whether they're social or religious. But what confuses me about your commentary is how, on the one hand, you uphold the virtues of critical thinking and rationality, and you apply this quite rightly in your criticism of Islam as being a unique threat, and you also go after these social justice lunatics that exist in society. But at the same time, you embrace this equally ridiculous ideology that says a supernatural being wrote the Bible. Now, I don't think any of us are capable of being perfectly rational, but it seems to me you can't have it both ways. Either you apply the principles of reason generally across the board, or you apply them selectively and suspend them selectively in the presence of your pet ideology.
I understand the question, but there's an error in your assumption that Christianity cannot be arrived at as a product of reason. And there's a suggestion buried in there that Christianity is somehow hostile to or incompatible with reason. Science as a system of inquiry was produced by religion. It was Catholicism, it was Christianity that prompted man to look around at the world and say, this marvelous, beautiful creation of the Lord is something that God did, so it must be worth us taking a look and seeing how it works. And, Christianity gave birth to modernity. Christianity and capitalism have existed in intricate symbiosis. Capitalism would not be possible without the Protestant work ethic. There are people 10 times as smart as you and I combined, scientists, many of whom in later life come to Christianity. You'll notice there's a trend of biologists in particular who've spent 30 years in the field who find God in their 50s. There are people, 10 times intelligent as you and I combined, who would say there is simply no justification for putting fact, logic, and reason over here and religion here. I make specific criticisms of Islam because I have studied it as a belief system and found it to be poisonous and defective. I think it is incapable of adaptation, incapable of engaging with modernity. It hasn't experienced its own enlightenment. Therefore, it cannot engage with democracy, capitalism, or the West in general. And until it does, it simply shouldn't be here because it isn't compatible with our way of life. I don't expect, I'm not in the course of this answer going to persuade you that there's a God. But all I will tell you is that there is a perfectly respectable philosophical history of religion being entirely compatible with reason and scientific inquiry. Indeed, it gave birth to both of them. So, it's never going to be there's a bridge between the two of us that we are not going to cross, and that's okay. But I do want you to be careful about not falling into the kind of trap that the left does, saying, oh, well, how can you be gay and a Catholic? Which just betrays utter ignorance of both what homosexuality and Catholicism are. Catholic Church has been a home for gay people forever. It's normally based on this assumption that Catholics are homophobic or whatever. At a time when the state was murdering homosexuals, the Catholic Church was welcoming them in and sheltering them as priests and giving them a chance to be something in the community and not be ostracized or murdered or discriminated against. The trade-off was you couldn't get married, but the Catholic Church was providing homosexuals not just with sanctuary, but with a function, an important function in civilization. These kinds of questions come from. I get how badly educated people are these days, but they come from this assumption that there's something incompatible between faith and reason, and no serious theologian would say so, and I would not.
Meat creates toxic masculinity, according to a university professor. Eating meat is bad for you, it's bad for the country, and it reinforces gender stereotypes, apparently. Yeah. But it tastes so good. Joining me now, Dr. D'Alessio Parson. Okay, doctor. Why is eating meat bad, really?
Well, we have to back up, because you, I think at the beginning, just said eating meat creates toxic masculinity. Mm-hmm. The toxic masculinity is already there.
It's already there. Does eating meat make toxic masculinity worse?
It's one of the ways in which it can reinforce existing kind of social structures, including patriarchy.
Well, how does that reinforce social structures where men dominate eating meat?
Yeah, it's really complicated.
We'll break it down for
how about this, though? You said we had 4 or 5 minutes, right?
Just keep it simple. How does eating meat make the genders unequal?
Eating meat holds a lot of symbolism, and it really is too much to explain in 4 minutes. But it has to do with the fact that our individual level decisions, the things we decide to do as individuals, what we consume, what we put on our bodies, the things we buy and put in our households, are fundamentally political acts.
Okay.
Right? The personal is political.
Okay. So I'm having a steak right now because I'm starving.
I hear you. I wish I could have half of that, but this doesn't look vegan, and I'm trying to be vegan.
You're a vegan?
It's really hard because, I don't know if I told you, I'm from Wisconsin.
Okay.
And cheese was like one of my favorite things.
See, that looks pretty good. That's a little rare, medium rare.
Yeah.
Is
got
this
some nice dead animal, dead cow hanging on your fork.
Is this bad that I'm eating meat?
If you go hunting, that's a totally different story, right? The blood's on your hands. Right now, you're kind of just enjoying the benefit, and the blood's on someone else's hands, and that's not very fair.
What if they want to hunt meat, or what if they want to raise cattle?
Oh, totally. But the idea of killing and taking a life, that we should really deeply consider what that means for us as human beings. People have said you should judge a society by how it treats their animals. And it'd be great if we had universal health care for our animals.
Universal health care for animals, that could be expensive.
We can afford it, look.
Really? Because we're $20 trillion in debt.
I got some money. I got this.
Do you care more about people or animals?
I care about our world, and I think in order for us to achieve a more sustainable future, particularly regarding what's happening with climate change, we need to figure out how the 7.6 billion of us on this planet can be good neighbors. And we're really bad at being good neighbors right now.
Okay, so why should I be a good neighbor to a squirrel?
Well, you don't have to worry about, if you don't want to worry too much about the squirrel right now, the squirrel's part of nature, right? If you keep killing nature, what's going to happen to us, right? If we as people keep killing nature. Me too, right? Like, I still eat cheese a lot. It's not like something that's going to be perfect. We're never going to be perfect at it.
But what if you're just hungry and the animals are there for us to enjoy for dinner, for lunch,
God said
for breakfast?
So. Did God tell you that?
Well, I mean, why would they taste so good if we weren't supposed to eat them?
Sugar tastes good.
Yeah, I eat sugar too.
Obesity, diabetes.
Well, I mean, I have some sugar, but
I mean, you clearly have a lot.
I don't just pour sugar down my throat.
You clearly have some things around like who you are that protect you, and like especially a lot of, I think, financial resources to like do things like buy really expensive steaks.
Okay.
So that's also part of the problem, is that some people are really taking up more than their fair share of,
so
plate.
the rich people are stealing all the steak from the poor people.
Surplus value.
Okay, well, you know what?
I got a book for you.
I'm going to go take this
Wait,
steak,
can
and
I
I'm
give
going
you
to
the
go give it to a homeless guy out on 6th Avenue.
Go for it. And you were saying you needed books
Doctor,
for Christmas.
Thank you very much. I will take your book, and I will take a bite of this steak.
And this is the book I'm reading.
And it's delicious. Thank you very much.
Thank you.